Good day, students. This is teacher Shilpa Adkar. Hope all of you are fine and trying to concentrate on your studies. Stay at home and be safe. Today, let us study the lesson Joan of Arc, a small play written by George Bernard Shaw, a leading dramatist of his time. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1925. Let us read the introduction. Joan of Arc, George Bernard Shaw, from 1856 to 1950, was an Irish playwright and critic. He wrote more than 60 plays during his lifetime, including major works such as Man and Superman in 1902, Pygmalion in 1912, and Saint Joan in 1923. He was a leading dramatist of his time. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1925. Joan of Arc, nicknamed the Maid of Orleans, is considered a heroine of France for her role during the 100 Years' War. The 100 Years' War was a series of conflicts in Europe from 1337 to 1453, that is, 116 years. It was waged between England and France over succession to the French throne. Each side drew many allies into the war. France won the 100 Years' War in a crushing way. Joan believed that God had chosen her to lead France to victory in its long-running war with England. Joan of Arc was officially canonized in 1920, that is, officially declared after her death to be one of history's greatest saints and an enduring symbol of French unity and nationalism. This lesson is a small play depicting the courage and confidence of Joan of Arc. She was extremely patriotic and was confident in defeating the English soldiers and removing every single soldier from the soil of France. Let us read the lesson and understand it. The war fought between England and France from 1337 to 1453 has come to be known as the 100 Years' War. Joan was a peasant girl born in eastern France who led the French army to several victories during this war. This play begins at the time when all of northern France and some parts of the southwest were under foreign control. The British controlled some parts and the Burgundians controlled the others. The city of New Orleans, one of the few remaining French cities, was held by the English. The year is 1429. Captain Robert de Baudricourt, a military officer, is seated at the table. His steward stands facing him. Robert, I told you to throw the girl out. You have 50 armed soldiers and dozens of strong servants to carry out my orders. Are they afraid of her? Steward, no, sir, we are afraid of you, but she puts courage in us. She really doesn't seem to be afraid of anything. Perhaps you could frighten her, sir. Robert, grimly. Grimly is seriously. Perhaps. Where is she now? Steward, down in the courtyard, sir. Robert goes to the window and asks the soldiers to send the girl up. The girl enters. She is a well-built, strong country girl of 17 to 18 years. The squires glare. neither frightens her nor stops her. She speaks confidently. Joan. Good morning, Captain Squire. You are to give me a horse and armor and some soldiers and send me to the Dauphin. Squire over here means a person of high rank. Armor is a protective clothing of metal or leather worn in battles by soldiers in former times. Here, the Captain Robert is asking his steward as to why Joan has not been sent back to her family. He asks if the soldiers were scared of her. The steward replies that the opposite is just the case. It is Joan who is actually encouraging the soldiers and is not afraid of anything. Captain Robert meets a strong country girl of 17 or 18 years who is very confident. She requests him to give her a horse, armor, and some soldiers and send her to the Dauphin, that is, the eldest son of the king. Let us read further. Robert, this girl is mad. Why didn't you tell me so, you blockhead? Blockhead is a stupid person or a dull person. Steward, sir, do not anger her. Give her what she wants. Robert, I shall send you back to your father with orders to put you under lock and key. Joan, you think you will, Squire, but it won't happen that way. You said you would not see me, but here I am. Robert, so you are assuming that I will give you what you want. Assuming is taking for granted here. Joan, yes, Squire, continues busily. A horse will cost 16 francs. It is a big amount of money, but I can save it on the armor. I don't need beautiful armor made to my measure. I can find a soldier's armor that will fit me well enough. I shall not want many soldiers. The Dauphin will give me all I need to free Orleans. Robert, shocked, to free Orleans? Joan, simply, yes, Squire, 3 men will be enough for you to send with me. Polly and Jack have promised to come with me. You mean Monsieur de Polengi? Joan, yes, Squire, Jack will come willingly. He is a very kind gentleman and gives me money to give to the poor. I think John Godsave will come, and Dick the archer, and their servants, John of Horncourt, and Julian. There will be no trouble for you, Squire. I have arranged it all. You have only to give the order. Robert, to the steward, is this true about Monsieur de Polengi? Steward, eagerly, yes, sir, and about Monsieur de Metz too. They both want to go with her. Robert goes to the window and shouts into the courtyard, send Monsieur de Polengi to me, will you? He turns to Joan, get out and wait in the yard. Here, Robert wants to send Joan back to her house. She tried to convince Robert that she only needed a horse and that she would manage to borrow a soldier's armor. She was sure that her acquaintances, Polly and Jack, and many others will be ready to help her. The steward confirmed that these people were ready to help Joan. Robert summons Monsieur Polengi and asks Joan to wait in the yard. Let's continue reading. Joan, smiling brightly at him. Right, Squire, she goes out. Robert, to the steward. Go with her. Stay within call and keep your eye on her. I shall have her up here again. The steward retreats hastily. To retreat hastily is to move away in a hurry. Bertrand de Polengy, a French guard, enters, salutes, and stands waiting. Robert, she says you, Jack, and Dick have offered to go with her. What for? Do you take her crazy idea of going to Dufan seriously? Polengy, slowly. There is something about her. It may be worth trying. Robert, oh, come on, Polly. You must be out of your mind. Polengy, unmoved. What is wrong with it? The Dufan is in Chino, like a rat in a corner, except that he won't fight. The English will take Orleans. He will not be able to stop them. Robert, he beat the English the year before last at Montargis. I was with him. Polengy, but his men are cowed, and now he can't work miracles. And I tell you that nothing can save our side now but a miracle. Robert, miracles are all right, Polly. The only difficulty about them is that they don't happen nowadays. Polengy, I used to think so. I'm not so sure now. There is something about her. I think the girl herself is a bit of a miracle. Anyhow, this is our last chance. Let us see what she can do. Robert, wavering, that is hesitating. You really think that? Polengy, turning. Is there anything else left for us to think? Let's take a chance. Her words have put fire into me. To put fire into is have inspired or motivated. Robert, giving up. Phew, you are as mad as she is. Let's understand. Joan waits in the courtyard and the steward keeps an eye on her. Robert asks Bertrand if he and the others were ready to go with Joan to the Dauphin. The Dauphin at present was hiding in Chino and would not be able to fight the English. Polengy was expecting a miracle to save them now. Robert didn't believe in miracles, but Polengy was expecting a miracle as Joan was capable of inspiring and motivating everybody. Let's continue. Polengy, obstinately, stubbornly. We want a few mad people now. See where the same ones, it is not S-A-M-E, please change the word as S-A-N-E, sane. See where the sane ones have landed us. Robert, I feel like a fool. Still, if you feel sure. Polengy, I feel sure enough to take her to Chino unless you stop me. Robert, do you think I ought to have another talk with her? Polengy, going to the window. Yes. Joan, come up. Joan enters. Polengy, gravely. Gravely is seriously. Be seated, Joan. Robert, what is your name? Joan, they always called me Jenny in Lorraine. Here in France, I am Joan. The soldiers call me the maid. Robert, how old are you? Joan, 17, so they tell me. It might be 19. I don't remember. Robert, I suppose you think raising a siege is as easy as chasing a cow out of a meadow. You think soldiering is anybody's job? Raising a siege is surrounding from all sides and attacking the forces. Joan, I don't think it can be very difficult if God is on your side. Robert, grimly, seriously. Have you ever seen English soldiers fighting? Have you ever seen them plundering? Plundering is attacking and looting. Burning, turning the countryside into a desert? Have you heard no tales of their prince, who is the devil himself, or of the English king's father? Joan, you don't understand, Squire. Our soldiers are always beaten because they are fighting only to save their skins. To save their skins is to save themselves, to save their lives. And the shortest way to save your skin is to run away. But I will teach them all to fight for France. Then they will drive the soldiers before them like sheep. You and Polly will live to see the day when there will not be a single English soldier on the soil of France. Here, Robert wants to know if Polenji was sure of this plan. Polenji is very sure, and Joan is asked to join them. Robert asked for personal details from Joan and told her that soldiering was not an easy job. He explained that the English were fierce fighters. Joan counters his observation and tells that the French soldiers only want to be safe, and so they resort to running away from the enemy. But she would teach and motivate them to fight and will send all the English soldiers packing from the French soil. Let's continue. Robert to Polenji. This may all be nonsense, Polly, but the troops might just be inspired by it, though nothing that we say seems to put any fire into them. Even the Dauphin might believe it, and if she can put some fight into him, she can put it into anybody. Robert, turning to Joan. Now you, listen to me and don't cut in before I have time to think. Your orders are that you are to go to Chinon under the escort of this gentleman and 3 of his friends. Joan, radiant, clasping her hands. Oh, thank you, Squire. Polenji, how is she to get into the royal presence? Robert, I don't know. How did she get into my presence? I will send her to Chinon, and she can say I sent her. Then, let come what may, I can do no more. Let come what may means whatever happens, or let anything happen. Joan, and the dress? I may have a soldier's dress, Squire. Robert, take what you please. I wash my hands off it. To wash one's hand is when you are fed up and you don't want to take up any more responsibility. So it is not ready to take up any responsibility. Joan, wildly excited by her success. Come, Polly. She dashes out. Robert, shaking Polenji's hand. Goodbye, old man. I'm taking a big chance. Few other men would have done it, but as you say, there is something about her. Polenji, yes, There is something about her. Goodbye. By George Bernard Shaw. Let's see. Robert was of the opinion that if Joan could motivate the Dauphin, she could motivate all the soldiers. Robert tells Joan that she would have to go to Chinon, escorted by Polenji and the others. Joan gets very excited at the given opportunity. Polenji questions as to how Joan would get a chance of meeting the Dauphin. Robert agrees to send her to Chinon and give her a reference in order to meet the Dauphin. Robert and Polenji both agree that Joan definitely had good leadership qualities and was a good organizer. They felt that this was their last chance of saving Orleans and that there was something special about Joan. We have come to the end of this lesson. History tells us that Joan did succeed and led the French army to several victories during the 100 Years' War. This is an inspiring story, and we learn that it does not matter what people think about you. The right thing to do can be the most difficult one. We should have faith in our lives and have a purpose. This protects us and helps us overcome our difficulties. Let us go on to the assignments. Please complete the workshop and write the answers of each and every lesson. The answers, if possible, should be written in the textbook itself. If the answers are lengthy, then write them in the English notebook. Your second assignment is write a dialogue between you and your friend discussing the personality of Joan of Arc. Please write this on a double foolscap paper. Now, here you have your grammar assignment. Please go through the grammar assignment and do it in your grammar notebook. These are the first 4 questions of your grammar assignment. It's very clear. Read it carefully and do as directed. I'll read it out for you. Do as directed. The first question, write 2 compound words. Second question, pick out the present participle from the given sentence. The students were writing in their notebook. Third, punctuate the following. No, sir, we are afraid of you, but she puts courage in us. Fourth question, find 4 hidden words of 4 letters or more each from the given word something. The fifth one, make a meaningful sentence using the given phrase, have to put fire into. Sixth, spot the error and rewrite the correct sentence. You is to give me a horse and armor. Seventh question, identify the type of sentence. I don't think it can be very difficult. Eighth one, complete the word chain of verbs. The first word is given to you, that is fight. So the next word will begin from the last letter of the first word. That means the second word will begin with T, and the same thing follows. Ninth question, write the present and past participle of the word give. 10th question, use the given homograph in 2 separate meaningful sentences. And the homograph is, the word is safe. Please write this grammar assignment in your grammar notebook. Thank you.